And I'm going to tell you a story that will kind of change the way that you look at social media, specifically Instagram. I think this is the end of what we knew, and we're entering a new era of Instagram and all social media. I believe that social media is headed in a direction that there is no coming back from, and for multiple reasons this makes it hard to grow on Instagram. This also presents huge opportunities for people, but before we get to that, let's go back in time, okay? It all started a while ago, a few years after these first social media companies kind of appeared, when these platforms were growing fast, monetizing fast, and trying to find new ways of keeping users on their websites for longer. You see, at this time, social media was mostly people that you knew in real life, and there weren't many ways to kind of reach people that you didn't know in any real scale. So these platforms grew fast, and you see, with all these new users, there was a lot of kind of boring, strange posts popping up from us normal people, and these companies needed to invent a way to filter out the rubbish because it was kind of making people leave and providing a bad experience, which was kind of unacceptable for what had now become an advertising platform. So they came up with a simple way of ranking posts based on, how many people reacted to it. This is what we now refer to as the algorithm. And this seems to be like pretty simple, harmless change, in fact, pretty sensible change. But by doing this, these platforms kind of led us down a road that, as I said, there is no coming back from. They kind of opened Pandora's box. So the first stage of this radical change, and that's what affects you today, came in the form of the curated feed. This is where their robots kind of look at all of the people that you are following and figure out the best content, the kind of stuff that they know will keep you on the app for just a little bit longer. And when you open the app today, those are the things that you will see. The first posts that you see are not the most recent, as you may not know. These are the things that they have determined will kind of give you a good welcoming into the app to get you to stay for a little bit longer. This is the curated feed in action. This all sounds simple enough, but wait, if the goal here is to show you the best content, to entertain you as much as possible, to keep you in the app as long as possible, then it's pretty likely that the best content, the content that is going to achieve that goal, exists outside of the people that you chose to follow. Now, a little while ago, someone somewhere figured this out, and the curated feed mutated slightly and manifested itself as the For You page on TikTok. You see, the crazy thing about TikTok is that you don't need to follow anyone to have basically the same experience as everyone else. You can download the app, create an account, and in seconds there is an actual endless amount of content that very quickly figures out which holds you for the longest, and not what makes you happy, not what makes you inspired, but what holds you on the app the longest, and their data doesn't lie. It's no coincidence that TikTok is known for being addictive. They have you figured out on a biological level. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's very, very powerful. But where does that leave us with those Instagram followers and why it is so hard to grow on the platform? Put very simply, in order for Instagram to compete, they need to deliver a competitive experience, and TikTok changed the game. They broke the rules. Now, Instagram need people to have as good a time on Instagram as they do on TikTok, which means playing from the same rulebook. Now, about those Instagram followers, okay, and why it is so hard, think about it this way, okay? In order for you to gain followers, people need to want to follow. And people used to want to follow because there was nothing else going on. And more importantly, Instagram needed you to follow people to be entertained, because between those moments of entertainment, it would show you ads. So why is it so hard to grow on Instagram today? It's because Instagram no longer requires you to follow people to show you ads. And the reverse of that is that it doesn't need you to grow a following for it to serve ads to other people. It doesn't need you anymore, and I can prove it. Here is an account with no followers and no following, and to be honest, I wouldn't notice. It somehow serves me the same kind of content that it does on my main account. Now, I don't mean to sound negative. That may have sounded overdramatic and negative. I wasn't trying to be. I was merely trying to explain this very nuanced change that has been happening over the last few years, which has affected the way that people use these platforms. But there is an opportunity here. With all of this, the potential to randomly reach a very large audience is much, much higher because the game isn't reaching your followers anymore. This is a global pool of people that you could potentially reach. Now, if the content that you've posted happens to tick all of their boxes on a data level, it will reach tens or hundreds of thousands of people. And this is why Reels views are so inconsistent, is because it doesn't really care how many followers you've got. It just cares who finds it interesting. But this is just my experience. You may be having a different experience. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments and I will see you in the next one. Take care.